Join us this next Saturday at Kalania Pia Farm, where we'll be a class on building kitchen garden and root crop gardens, how to build raised beds, use weed mat to suppress weeds, using mulch, building root crop gardens that will be protected from pigs, hugelkultur mounds, and lots more. So in this next class, we're going to be talking about how to build different kinds of raised beds, including wooden beds like this one. We'll also be talking about how to do rock-lined beds, wire and weed mat beds, and in-ground beds as well. But these raised beds can help us by excluding some pests. These are high enough to keep pigs out of the beds. We also have copper tape on some of these beds, which can help exclude slugs from the bed. So here we're using logs to retain the soil inside this bed. It raises up the level of the soil, helps get better drainage, prevents erosion. It's also acting as a barrier to keep this grass from creeping into the bed. This is starting to break down. This log is going to break down and help feed this garden bed. And eventually can be easily replaced. Well, if you're growing root crops in Hawaii, likely you're going to need pig protection, so we'll be talking about different ways you can fence to keep your garden safe from the pigs. We'll be talking about growing sweet potato, taro, cassava, and several other root crops. So here we're growing cassava. This is a great staple root crop from Africa. Here we've just we've taken this this reusable weed mat that has a 10-year lifespan. We've stapled it down. We took 2 sheets of this and just tucked the cassava cuttings in between them. And so this is holding down, controlling all the weeds around this cassava while it's growing. And then when we harvest this, we'll take these weed mats and move them and reuse them somewhere else. Here we've got comfrey, which is a great border plant for the garden. This is going to help exclude weeds from coming in. But temporarily we have this weed mat down that's, again, keeping the grasses from encroaching and spreading into the garden. And we can easily just mow right along this edge. And then occasionally we'll weed whack to get this grass that's starting to creep and stay low. So here we've got in-ground growing. So there's no really bed to speak of. We just have areas that we've defined as path. You can see we've got a lot of mulch down to suppress weeds. So it keeps down our labor so we don't have to do a lot of weed control. Right. And we've got a nice crop here of daikon and green onions and basil. So most of our growing is done in the ground in beds like these. There we've got some cardboard sheet mulching. That's a great way to smother out weeds. Again, instead of having to do the labor-intensive pulling of weeds, if we can avoid that as much as possible, we can spend more of our time harvesting and less of our time working. So join us this next Saturday at Kalania Pia Farm, where we'll be a class on building kitchen garden and root crop gardens. So we'll be talking about how to build raised beds, use weed mat to suppress weeds, using mulch, building root crop gardens that will be protected from pigs, hugelkultur mounds, and lots more. Hope to see you there.